Hi guys, it's Sunbury Housewives. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to our channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit that subscribe button to see future videos. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. So today I have the most adorable gingerbread wine slash coffee slash whatever you want it to be tumbler. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm starting with a 16-ounce Stemmy is what it's called from the Stainless Steel Depot, and I go ahead and remove the lid. Put it right back in the box so I don't lose anything. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the tumbler, and I just sand the snot out of it. You want to make sure you get really good under the handle. It's kind of hard with these big, sanding blocks, but do the best you can. And then you want to clean it up with rubbing alcohol. 91% is what I use. And like I said, I really sand it really good because you want to make sure that you do all that work. You don't want anything to fall off of it. So here I am cleaning it up, and I'm just using coffee filter. I ran out of paper towels, and coffee filters were what I had. So that's what I'm using. So the glitter that I wanted, I didn't really have an actual gingerbread color, so I mixed up a couple glitters that I did have. I used brain fart. I used this, apparently I'm just going to mix up my epoxy right now. That's just great. So I'm mixing up just a small amount. I think I mixed up probably about 10 milliliters here because I was working on other projects too. And I am doing a little extra element to this. I'm going to make a straw topper with this as well. And it turns out super cute. So just keep watching so you can see that. So I am making a little bit more. Normally I would just make up about 5 milliliters. So these are the glitters I'm using. Toffee by the Glitter Guy and this Copper by Let's Resin. And I mixed it together and it really made this really pretty, I think, gingerbread-y. That's not a word, but it is now. Color. So I am just going around and putting a very thin coat all over the tumbler, paying special attention to that handle. You don't want to glop it on there so that it muddles it up. So yeah, I'm just going around and putting a very thin coat. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And once I get that done, I do pat. I forget who I seen pat it. If you guys ever see me pat it, because if you streak on your tumblers, sometimes you can see that streaking texture and that does not look good. So I have found when I saw that someone had patted it, it gives it a texture, and because that glitter's textured, you can't really see that. So that's what I'm doing. So I apparently didn't mix up a whole bunch of glitter to be able to just dump it all on there and be done. I had to keep dumping it back in my cup. So that's what I'm doing here. But it was enough to cover the whole glitter and then do my little straw topper too. And I even have some left. So there's that. But I thought this glitter turned out really good. It's not really brown, but it's not really copper. It's a good mixture between the two. And I thought it looked very gingerbread-esque. Here we go. So once I do get all of that covered, I do let this sit off to cure, and then I will turn my attention to doing this straw topper. And I tap off the excess glitter and set that off to cure. And then we will turn our attention to this straw topper. You can see there's plenty of little designs in there. There's like Mickey Mouse and a heart and flower, and then this round one. I have 2 other molds somewhere else too. So the remaining of the epoxy, I poured some of the glitter in, and I'm stirring it in. And then I had sprayed my mold with the alcohol before pouring in my epoxy mixture. And this releases any bubbles that will arise from you mixing it. And then I pour a little bit in each just to make sure that I get it even. I do end up mixing more epoxy and glitter to top it off because I didn't have enough to begin with. So I do end up going back and mixing more epoxy. And then once I do get all of that poured in, I do spray the top of the epoxy with more alcohol to release any more bubbles, because you cannot use your torch on this because it will damage your mold, and yeah, that's not good. I mean, you can use your heat gun, but I don't like to use really any heat on my molds. So I do use the alcohol to release those bubbles. So there's that. So I'm just using my popsicle stick to move around the epoxy to make sure that I get as much coverage as possible. And this is where I realized that I'm going to need to mix up a little bit more epoxy. So that's what I did. I don't know if I show you here or not, but so there's that. Oh, apparently I'm going to show you. By the time I film these to the time I do the voiceover, sometimes there's a week, maybe two. So just a little info there for you. So I don't always remember exactly each step that I've done. So yeah, this is where I've mixed up. So I'm just scooping it in instead of pouring, because I've gotten close to the top and I don't want to overflow the mold, because these molds are not deep at all. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then I did want to leave just the tiniest lip. I didn't want to overflow it in the tiniest lip because I'm going to put some vinyl, and then I'm going to put another coat to seal those vinyl in. So that's that. And then I will set this mold after I spray it with the alcohol to release the bubbles, excuse me, to set aside to cure. So here's I'm spraying, and it's just one simple little squirt, and set aside. And then we'll move on to the next steps, which in the magic of editing won't be but a second. I don't know what I was apparently admiring my work. Okay, so here we are. So I had cut out this like rickrack vinyl, and I'm going to go around above the handle at the top. And, that's self-explanatory. I don't know why I was going to make it more difficult. So I did that, and then I cut off the excess. And then the bottom one, I had a lot more because there's like a curve at the bottom. And the first one totally messed that up. I ripped that off, and then I'm going around again. So I kind of had to go slower and maneuver. I got some creases in it, but that was pretty unavoidable. I got as much out as I possibly could. And I did end up going around with my heat gun after it was on and smoothing out a whole lot of them. So, but that curve made it almost, I don't even know why I attempted it, but I couldn't not have it match the top. Yeah, so there you see me with the heat gun smoothing it out. And then I move on to the face. The only thing I wish I had done a little bit different is maybe cut the face a little bit bigger. But I think then I would have had to cut out maybe the elements of her bow or the little other elements that I had on there, like her little buttons. I don't know what I was trying to do with the handle, but so, I mean, I still think it's the most adorable little mug or wine glass, but so I did a lot of reverse weeding on here just for the simple fact these pieces were so little. And yeah, so I did a bow in pink, and her buttons, little heart buttons, matched the bow. And then I don't know why I was going to put those on right then. So, but then this is her face. And I'm putting that on. And the original file that I got this off of, I believe it was Creative Fabrica. I'll have to go back and look. It was either Design Bundles or Creative Fabrica. I'm not really sure which. And I believe I actually took apart, it was like a whole body, and I took apart just elements of them. And yeah. I added eyelashes to her because she needed eyelashes. She didn't come with eyelashes. I added those eyelashes. I mean, girls got to have eyelashes. And added her eyeballs in. And then gave her cheeks. I'm not sure that she had cheeks. Like I said, I took, I think, a couple different gingerbread girls and put them together. Because I liked like certain things from different ones, so I added them together. So that's what she looks like. And I wanted it simple. I did not want this cup to be completely like taken over with a whole lot of design. So now we're moving on to the straw topper. So it's going to be basically the same, except I didn't add her buttons. And these pieces were teeny, really teeny. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So, and the front and the back is the exact same. And you know, I just eyeball everything. Oh, speaking of eyeballs, I was taking her eyeballs out. So I reverse weeded everything on here because there was no way I was going to be able to not lose pieces when I was weeding that. And the eyelashes, I mean, I probably could have foregone her eyelashes because they were black on this dark glitter, and it was really hard to see. I mean, unless you're really looking at it in person, it's really hard to see. So, but the girl still gotta have her eyelashes. And initially on this, I didn't think that the bow would fit, and I do go back and cut the bow to put on here because then I realized, oh, there was plenty of space for the bow. And her little cheeks, they're so stinking cute. So now I'm adding her bow, and there's like little teeny pieces in between where like the bow's cut out. I had to go in and pull those pieces out. And how cute are these? So now, to kind of speed up the process a little bit for these, I am going to go ahead and seal them with some UV resin before I completely epoxy over the whole thing. Because what I want to do is I'm going to connect them with just a smidge of UV resin to connect or, attach them together. And I'm just going to use my UV flashlight, attach them. This doesn't take long. Just about 30 seconds or so. Just there's not a whole lot in there to keep them connected. What's really going to keep them connected, because the way that I'm doing it, is the epoxy at the end. I do a couple coats of epoxy on the end. So then I am doing all the way around too. And this one I do a little bit longer. Of course, I speed it up through so you don't really, but I do about 60 to 90 seconds to fully cure. And then like spinning it around. I have a timer on my phone that goes off when I'm completely done. And it's curing in the middle as well. I just flash cured it so that I can get this other layer around. So once it's fully cured, right there, and then I have more rickrack that I had cut out on the white vinyl, and I'm going to go around the edge. Oh, I'm still curing. But I wanted to replicate as much on the straw topper as I did on the mug. So I take this rickrack vinyl and go all the way around the edge of the straw topper. And then I will trim off the excess for around the holes. So once that's all done, I do give it a coat of the Ccdiy quick coat and then 2 coats of epoxy. But then I got to thinking, I've never really showed you guys how to really epoxy around a handle. So this is how I do. I do a very, very thin coat around the handle. You don't want it to puddle up. So then I, do my normal epoxying. And then once I get to the handle, I'm very, very diligent around the handle. I didn't mean to flip you off, I swear. And then, I'm very, very careful around that handle. You don't want it to really puddle because it would be a huge mess to really have to sand around that. So then I torch it and then let it spin to cure. Like I said, I do 2 coats of epoxy over that and then onto the thing. I have it on this like dowel rod, and it's got a piece of like silicone like tube thing up it. It's really cool little contraption. And then I'm really careful around the hole. There is another little plug thing to it, but I couldn't find it this day. But I'm just very careful. And then it goes on this little contraption thing. Super cool. Ignore my mess around it. And then, and it just spins on another turner. I have so many tumblers going right now because of this craft show, but I had to pull up my old things. But here is this tumbler. How stinking cute is this? And this is without the straw in it right now. I think this turned out absolutely adorable. I am so in love with it. And then here's with the straw in it with the topper on it. I just absolutely love this. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a great big thumbs up. And I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.